Terence "Bud" Crawford tells Shakur Stevenson to chill out a little bit on social media. He's been going at everybody. First it was like Tim Bradley, then he got some criticism from Roy Jones, took that well, and Shakur Carrington obviously said some minor things, but Shakur wasn't happy. But it was mainly, Tim Bradley and then other former fighters and a lot of fans that Shakur has been getting into it with. Andre Berto, former fighter as well. So he's just been going at it with everybody, and Terence Crawford has been telling him to chill out a little bit. He's telling him and Shakur Carrington, another top-ranked fellow fighter, I guess not anymore now that Shakur Stevenson is potentially leaving Top Rank unless he does actually re-sign with him, because I'm also hearing news that Bob Arum is curious about re-signing Shakur Stevenson and working out a good deal, because I think he knows that Shakur, no matter what, no matter if people find him boring, this or that, he's got the goods. So no matter what, you would have still a relatively big name. He'd have a champion at worst, and probably one of the best, if not the best fighter at 35 coming from Top Rank if Bob Arum is able to re-sign him. So that'd be good for Bob Arum and Top Rank, but obviously Shakur Stevenson wasn't happy with a lot of what Top Rank did, panning the camera to people leaving Shakur Stevenson's fight. That's where it all went downhill, and it started with that Shakur Stevenson performance against Edwin De Los Santos, and then it really erupted when, this was the last fight on Shakur Stevenson's contract with Top Rank with Artem Harnatunian, and then Shakur Stevenson obviously not looking very exciting to the people, the casual fans, and to a lot of real boxing fans as well. Even the real boxing fans are saying that Shakur should have done more. He should have let his hands go more and been more aggressive, because I agree with, parts of that. I would say that Shakur Stevenson had a good, solid performance. He was good in there, as always, as per usual. Way better performance than the De Los Santos fight. Way more convincing win. But he also did stuff outside of the ring after the fight that made people a little bit upset when he talked about, Artem was running, said Artem brought his track shoes, when in actuality, if you call that running, and Artem wasn't running, he was really just being mobile around the ring. If you're calling that running, then fans have the right to say that what Shakur does in all of his other fights is running. So I don't think that. I don't believe that personally, but I know that Shakur Stevenson's a great fighter. When it comes to measuring the distance, the IQ, he's probably one of one. But obviously, you guys know how I think about the power, and how is he gonna fare with Tank's power when there's no headgear and it's 8-ounce gloves, and it's a big fight where the crowd's all against you, and it's the biggest stage of your career. I think that's where a lot of it changes for me. I feel like Shakur hasn't been on the stage that Tank has, and Tank's done it consecutively and over and over and over again, and has had better and better performances. So that's what concerns me about Shakur Stevenson. It's not so much the skills. I know the skills are always going to be there, and I think that his path to victory is obviously like most if not all of his more recent fights, which is a decision win and a clean decision win where he doesn't take too many risks. And a lot of people weren't happy with him, and a lot of people, this is the reason why Shakur was getting upset, because guys like Tim Bradley, guys like Andre Berto, and everybody on social media was going at Shakur Stevenson. Even myself, I was a little bit harsh and critical of Shakur Stevenson, but it doesn't mean that I don't think he's the best 35-pounder. I think it's him and Tank. They're right there with each other. I think it's like 1A or 1B, wherever you want to put Tank or wherever you want to put Shakur. It's all about like what you value more. Do you value the boxing ability, or do you also value the power? Because for me, Tank has both, and I think that's what makes him so dangerous, as opposed to Shakur Stevenson, where he could very well win a decision, but it's not, his path to victory isn't exciting for the fans. But you got to get the win by any means necessary. So I understand Shakur Stevenson's fighting style. Like he said in an interview, I agree with Shakur 100% that he's blessed with his own gifts, which is his eyes and his IQ, and then Tank has his own gifts as well. Respectfully, he has the power. So both of these guys have talent, but they're different. It's like they're superheroes with different powers. It's like, what do you value more? Do you value the excitement and entertainment, the power, or do you value more so the sweet science? And I would argue Tank also has that element of sweet science in his game, but it's more like the knockout that gets everybody excited. But Shakur Stevenson's more of that slick boxer in there with the high IQ. So it's going to be an interesting chess match regardless, but Shakur Stevenson obviously going on social media. Terence Crawford wasn't, I think that's what Terence Crawford wants Shakur Stevenson to stay away from, because you know, if you guys remember not too long ago, but after the Artem Harutyunian fight, when Shakur Stevenson was, you know, receiving all this criticism, and when it all first came out, you know, everybody wasn't very impressed with his performance and people were leaving. You know, Terence Crawford said stuff like, you know, the fans, they want you to engage so that you can get caught with something. So he said, F them, this and that. But we also heard Terence Crawford tell Shakur to let his hands go, and Shakur took that as you know, constructive criticism, as opposed to, you know, from Tim Bradley, where Tim Bradley was saying a lot of this, you know, same stuff, but maybe lean more towards the side of, you know, Shakur is not as entertaining, he doesn't take enough risk. And part of that is true, no matter what people want to say, part of that is true. But if he does take risk, obviously it's called risk for a reason. You could get caught with something big. So Shakur Stevenson always, you know, playing it smart, but I think that's what the fans are really wanting him to see Shakur take a lot of risk, and they want to see him lose. Inevitably, that's what a lot of people want. So Shakur Stevenson just has to block all that noise out, continue to win these fights, and do it by any means necessary. Who cares what the fans say? If you're beating guys like Tank, beating guys like Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, if he eventually moves up to 140, then there's nothing people can say about that at the end of the day when it's all said and done. They can say you were boring, they can say whatever they want, because you're not going to please everybody in the sport of boxing. That's just the way it is. Everyone's going to have to say something about you, even when your career is through. But at the end of the day, your record's not going to lie. Your accomplishments are going to speak for itself, you know. So Shakur shouldn't really worry about that. That's why I was always like a little bit like Shakur needs to stay off of social media, because Terence Crawford telling him to calm down for a reason, because he knows that the great ones are focused on their craft. They're not really paying attention to what people outside of the sport have to say, because at the end of the day, they can't do what you do. They don't possess the talent that you have. So for Shakur Stevenson, it's all about staying locked in. I think Shakur's back in the gym. He's been posting on social media that he's getting back in the lab and working on things that, you know, he's excited to grind and perfect, you know, so that in the next fight, maybe he doesn't get the stoppage, but maybe it's a more exciting fight, and who knows, maybe he does get the stoppage. So whatever Shakur Stevenson decides, whether it's to re-sign with Top Rank, whether it's to go with Eddie Hearn or go with Floyd, it's all about, you know, continuing to stay true to himself and doing what he does best, which is winning boxing matches, winning fights, and, you know, keeping that competitive edge, not letting anybody, you know, any external voices really get to you, because at the end of the day, like, they're not in the ring fighting for you. They may want you to say, take more risks. I might say, take more risks, step on the gas a little bit, but if you feel like that's going to get you into trouble and it can put you in a position where you're going to lose the fight and get caught with something big, then who cares what I say? Who cares what a lot of fans, you know, criticizing Shakur says? Do your thing. But it's also the element of, if you're going to complain about, you know, money in the future with guys like Tank, let's say you're negotiating with Tank, and then it comes to a point where you're winning a lot of fights, but Tank is bringing in a lot more to the table when it comes to pay-per-view sales, when it comes to selling tickets, then you can't really complain about that, because Tank has a different style, and Tank is, like Shakur said, is blessed with the power, and Shakur is blessed with the eyeballs. But the thing is, the power is what the people want to see. The aggression is what the people want to see in the ring. That's why Tank is such a star. That's why in the negotiation process, I don't see Shakur getting that 50-50 cut with Tank in the future. I see it being more so like a 65-35 for Shakur if he's lucky, maybe even 7-30 in favor of Tank as the A side. That's just how it is, because, and this is just how it is because they both have respective talent. Like, it's different forms of entertainment that maybe Shakur Stevenson isn't as exciting, but he could probably beat Tank Davis. But then you have a guy like Tank who has the power to level it all out, or even, you know, push that line even further and beat a guy like Shakur. That's why we inevitably have to see the fight. Would Lomachenko and Shakur be a great fight? Yeah. Would Lomachenko and Tank be a great fight? Yeah. But when we're talking about primes and when fighters are in their best condition, there's no better fight than Shakur Stevenson and Tank at 35. That's the fight we really need to see. Maybe Lomachenko and Tank is a more exciting fight, and maybe Lomachenko and Shakur, who knows, could end up being the more competitive fight. But when we're talking about the fight we need to see as boxing fans, it has to be Shakur Stevenson and Vasily Lomachenko. Just kidding. Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis. Because Lomachenko, like, I always like to throw his name in there because he's one of my favorite fighters, but I have to be honest with myself as well. At this point in his career, he doesn't look the same, but, you know, still having good performances like George Kambosos. But George Kambosos to Shakur Stevenson and Tank, that's a completely different beasts. You know, Gervonta Davis and Shakur are nowhere near the level of Kambosos. So I want to see Shakur and Tank, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. Terence Bud Crawford tells Shakur Stevenson to chill out on the social media stuff for a little bit, and I agree. I think he's bigger than that, so he should focus on, you know, just staying in the gym and working on his craft. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. You know, I appreciate the constant support, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace. That's going to do it for another NASFIGHT Media video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy, Matt Nabong, with another video. Hope you guys enjoyed it all. Thank you guys for the constant support. Salute to y'all always. It's been your boy.